G'day and welcome to another 2022 player report card. We're up to Lachie Plowman. Before I get on to Plowman's report card, it's just been announced that Harry has signed a massive deal and will remain at the football club into 2030, which is really good news. Great news, in fact. Nick Austin has also announced that Paddy Dow and Will Setterfield have basically been put on the trade table. Setterfield out of contract, Dow another year running. Both had limited opportunities this year, particularly Dow. We know that. So that's the news out of Carlton at the moment. Now, I assume they've been encouraged to do that by the football club. That's the way I see it. Explore your options because moving forward, it's going to be very difficult to get a game in this team. And I wonder if the same conversations were had with Lachie Plowman, because these days are numbered. Let's have a look at him anyway. Age 28, he's just turned 28 on September the 11th. Career games 144, 20 of those with the Giants across 3 seasons in the west of Sydney. 222 games. He played the 15. One of those is a medical sub, which he got a run. He also played three VFL games, one early on in the year and the last 2. Game span now across his 10 years in the AFL, 6, 12, 2 with the Giants, then 19, 21, 13. Had a relatively serious knee injury in that year, and he played 13 games, 21, 16, 19, and 15 this year. Position, he's a defender, a hybrid. I call it a hybrid defender. I'm not comfortable on him playing on talls. I'm not even really comfortable in Plowman playing on elite medium size forwards as well. So I suppose his best matchups are usually on the smaller tyres. But he can be used in a variety of roles down back. Interesting contract. Still contracted at the footy club until the end of next year, where he will become a restricted free agent. He signed a 3-year deal at the end of 2020, so on September the 22nd, when David Teague was still at the club. And that contract, that 3-year contract, was Nick Austin's doing. Nick Austin. So I want to go back and just read what Nick Austin said about the signing of Lachie Plowman at the time in 2020. And obviously Michael Voss hadn't arrived at the football club. David Teague was still in charge. But this is Nick Austin, our list manager. This is what he said about Lachie Plowman when he signed that 3-year deal. 3-year deal. Lachie often gets the toughest job down back, week in, week out. His ability to play a selfless role for the team on game day has made him a valuable member of this football club. Okay, fair enough. Into his 8th AFL season now, Lachie is really starting to emerge into a mature player and is a part of that age group we're really excited to see continue together over the coming years. To have Lachie commit to the Blues for at least the next 3 seasons is a terrific show of loyalty from him, and we look forward to seeing him continue to play some great football in the navy blue in that time. Well, it hasn't quite panned out that way, has it? It was pretty much a regular last year under David Teague, but the writing was well and truly on the wall as soon as Michael Voss arrived. And I understand he had opportunities this year with his 15 games because of injury, basically. But the writing was on the wall, really. And looking back at that, a 3-year contract, and to have Lachie Plowman still on the list going into next year, and will be a depth player. But, geez, it was a big commitment. A big commitment to sign him for 3 years. And the assumption there is he was going to grow into this age bracket of 28 coming into his best football. His best football. And I don't know what that best looks like. I do not, for the life of me, know what it is. Pick 3 in the 2012 draft by Sauce at the GWS Giants. Let's just have a quick look at what Sauce took for the Giants. He took Whitfield at pick 1. Then he went O'Rourke, pick 2. Plowman, pick 3. Jacks, pick 12. And Aiden Call, pick 14. Wow. And he took Brett Thornton, former Blue, at pick 1 in the pre-season draft. Plowman played the 20 games for the Giants, and then at the end of that 2015 season, when Sauce took over as our list manager, in that trade period, Plowman came to us with Jed Lamb, Andrew Phillips, and Liam Sumner. I'm not going to go through how that all panned out in regards to draft picks, but he is, he's still at our football club. He's still at our football club, and obviously those others are gone. Phillips is on the list at Essendon, and Jed Lamb and Liam Sumner are playing local football somewhere. It's a fairly long season snapshot, to be perfectly honest, because it was sort of, I was trying to work out exactly what was happening to Plowman in regards to, where he fitted into the scheme of things in 2015, considering he did sign that long-term deal. I call a 3-year contract a long-term deal, and he's emerging and committed and coming into his best football. But he was overlooked for round 1. Wasn't considered. I can't even think whether he was an emergency in round 1. He definitely wasn't the sub, because the sub in round 1 was Tom Williamson against the Tigers. He was made the medical sub in round 2, and he came on in that game against the Western Bulldogs and replaced Oscar McDonald at half-time. He came on. He remained in the team for the following week in round 3 with the McGovern injury. McGovern did his hammy, and obviously McDonald went out and played again the week later against the Gold Coast Suns in round 4, then was dropped for round 5, and they tried Luke Parks. Luke Parks came in replace for Lachie Plowman. Played a game in the VFL, just the one game. I think he may have even travelled to Fremantle as one of the emergencies. Wasn't the sub. I think the sub against Fremantle was Jordan Boyd, but returned in round 7 when Parks went back. Missed round 8 with illness. That was the Adelaide game, and then returned in round 9. Now, this for me was the interesting one, because obviously Lewis Young went out with the health and safety protocols in that game in round 9 when Plowman returned. But looking back, how stiff was Jordan Boyd to be omitted for that game in round 9? Really, really stiff. And Plowman came back in. Jordan Boyd omitted, Plowman in. Then Plowman played the next 10 in a row. Solid. You'd say, he had some solid form in that time. It really did fall away, though. Then he was dropped in round 21 when the likes of Caleb Marchbank came back in for that Brisbane game, and then really he wasn't coming back in once McGovern came back in as well, and he played the last 2 games in the VFL against Casey and Collingwood, but didn't qualify for the finals, Lachie Plowman. So basically dropped twice for the year and was overlooked in round 1. And wasn't considered to be part of the best 22. Really, at any stage throughout the year, when you think about how decimated we were at times throughout the season, and he got opportunities because of injury. Statistically, elite 1-on-1 is the only stat that he's really that Champion Data said that he was elite in. Above average in intercept possessions and intercept marks, spoils, and then below average in the following: disposals 11.6, metres game 136, springbound 50s 1.7, and a big 2, I reckon, of the tackles. He's just a poor tackler, really. for a defender, he's very weak as far as I'm concerned in regards to his body size. He's like he's never put on any weight or any size in regards to strength, Lachie Plowman. In his time at Carlton in particular. Pressure acts below average as well at 7.4. Now, I'm not going to bother, to be perfectly honest. And this is not being disrespectful. I'm not going to bother with his best and worst performances because I just don't rate him. I don't rate him. I understand the sentiment about playing a role and having someone in your team who's able to play that lockdown defender role, whether it's on a medium or a small, and he's done that job okay at times. I just don't rate him. I actually quite liked him when he first arrived at the football club in his first couple of years, and I will say I reckon he shows a tremendous amount of courage. And he must be a pretty strong, resilient character as well, because he does cop it. He does cop it externally from a large section of the fan base, but I just don't rate him as an AFL footballer. He loses his feet. He's not strong. And if he's going to play that, that lockdown, really defensive type role, I prefer someone who's a little bit more combative and also a lot more aggressive, and he certainly doesn't bring that to the table. I understand he's, as I said before, when we were decimated with injuries and we played some okay football in that time, he was part of the back 6 or 7 that was able to, win us some games of football, and he's able to come in and play a role. I just don't see the qualities, and to think, and I'm happy to eat my words in 12 months' time, but I think he's going to be on our list again in season 223, playing predominantly unless something. I mean, if he's playing in our best 22 next year, I think we're in all sorts, and that means we've probably got a lot of injuries once again. I've gone with the one word, finally. Finally, we've gone past him. We had to play him this year. We had to play him for certain periods of time, but we've gone past him. I think there are better options, and hopefully those better options are fit and ready to go. Because one thing Plowman has been, he has been somewhat durable. Other than that year, he had the serious knee injury when he only played the 13 games. And I've got no beef with him in regards to him, because you hear things that he's a great clubman, and he's great around the boys and etc. And I totally get that. I'll give him a rating of 3.5. Played some solid games, but from an experienced player, and I'll go back to what Nick Austin said before about coming into his best football and emerging as one of those leaders of the football club, and that's an underwhelming season as far as I'm concerned. Dropped a couple of times, only brought in because we had injuries, and really, it's really not good enough. So, has he been told as well? Has he been told? Tell us straight. Has Lachie Plowman, you let us know that Paddy Down and Will Setterfield have been told to explore their options, well as fucking Lachie Plowman been told to explore his options as well. Yeah. Hit us with it. What do you think, guys? Speak soon.